Hi everyone, Soulrise Gaming here, and welcome to Raid Deck Guide for all tiers. There's 6 main points to a great deck guide, and several people keep asking about the best deck builds, especially because there's a couple of new cards been updated, and since the recent update of 3.0, there's been lots of changes. So I thought I'll update it to see the best deck builds and where to look for the best information. And before we begin, just a quick explanation about raiding. So there's 6 main points to determine a good and effective good card deck and effective attack. So that's type of Titan you're attacking. So if it's an armor, body, or skeleton, the Titan's current health at the time, the type of cards it used, the level of cards, the card swiping pattern, and name of the Titan. Now these 6 things decide whether you have a high chance of dealing massive damage or little damage. Now, and importantly, there's 6 body parts to a Titan Lord. So you've got head, then you've got the limbs, which is your left shoulder, your right shoulder, left hand, right hand, and your left leg and right leg. These are referred to as limbs. And then you've got your chest and torso and head. Now, the 2 new limb cards that have been introduced recently is a Cosmic Haymaker and Flak Shot. Now, the Flak Shot is not really used that much. It's pretty weak, but the Cosmic Haymaker is a pretty decent card. It's good for one-hit body parts, and it's good replacement if you have to hit multiple of the same body types. For example, if you need to clear a torso, it's good to use if you need to do 2 or maybe 3 rounds of torso hits. So it's good to swap it out if you need to swap it for, say, Fragmentize. Then if you've already used it and you need another one-hit body piece, you can use Cosmic Haymaker in its place. I'll go explain this a bit more as I go through the different types and variants of different builds later on. Now, for tier 1 decks, it's just body types. Tier 1 Titans don't have any armor, so you're just looking for body type attacks. Now, these are just example builds. There's loads of different variants, which I'll go through later on in the video. But these are the type of different cards that I use for tier 1, well, basically body parts only attack patterns. So for slot 1, you can have something like Clanship Barrage, Ancestral Favor, and then you can swap it for Razor Wind or Psychic Chain. And this is for 2 body parts. So if you want to hit 2, maybe 2 legs or the shoulder and hand, as shown on the picture on the right. And then the second type is if Clanship Barrage, Ancestral Favor, and then Moonbeam on torso. And this is for 1 body part, just torso hit. So this Clanship Barrage, Ancestral Favor, Skull Bash for head damage. Again, 1 body part. So these could be 1 slot. So you can have either limbs or head or torso. For your second slot, you can have, again, you can choose limbs, torso, or head, but this is a different variant. This is Purifying Blast and Acid Drench. So for the, if you want to do limbs, you can either use the Inspiring Force or Grasping Vines. For the torso, you can use Soulfire, and for the head, you can use Crushing Instincts. Your third, fourth, and fifth slot, you can have Moonbeam, Soulfire, and Razor Wind or Grim Shadow, and that's for a torso body part only. For head, you can have Skull Bash, Crushing Instinct, Razor Wind, or Grim Shadow, and this is for 1 body part. And Purifying Blast and Acid Drench plus Victory March is when there's 4 more skeleton parts remaining. So we haven't got that many parts remaining. You can use Victory March to give you that extra bit of damage. So this is just a whole deck examples. You do normally have the max amount of slots you can have is 6. These are just a 5 slot example. Your 6 slot you can change and have a variant, but for a slot 1 I have a limb attack one, so it could be Clanship Barrage, Ancestral Favor, and Psychic Change. This is for limbs. Then I have a second limb part in slot 2, which is Purifying Blast, Acid Drench, and Grasping Vines. And then I have a torso only and head only, so torso would be Moonbeam, Soulfire, and Razor Wind. And for slot 4, which is skull, will be Skull Bash, Crushing Instinct, and Grim Shadow. And then number 5 is when there's hardly any body parts left. Then I use Purifying Blast, Acid Drench, and Victory March just to finish off the Titan. So this is a general tier 1 body only type of decks. These are all just examples. There's different variants which I'll go through in a sec, but these are the ones that I generally use when I was at tier 1. Now tier 2 and 3 gets a bit more complicated, because with tier 2 you have armor, so you got to get rid of the armor first before you get into the body. And then with tier 3 you have different buffs. So you have zone buffs and titan buffs. Now I have a separate video explaining about tier 3 and also the different tools you can use with it. For example, raid optimizer tool, health bar tool, and other features. I will link that in the description below, and also an icon above this video in the top right. If you want more information about tier 3 guides and raiding, then watch that video. This video is just showing you different examples and tools of deck builds, so different builds for you to try out. Now there's a fantastic tool made by Immorality's awesome deck builds, so you can find them by going on the Tap Titans official Discord server, or you can go in my Discord server, whichever one. If you just go into the general spamming on the official Titans, or in my bot commands, or in the deck build help in my one. So if you use these following commands, so B !decks and then whichever Titan you're doing, it will give you an example build. So here's an example of what it will show you. So with LoJack, it will show you which body parts to use. This is with Victory March. This includes Victory March. So for example, on the left, you got the head and those different types of cards you can use. And if you follow the icons, for example, with the head, it has a body or armor, a body or an armor type. So you just follow which ones you need to hit, and you just follow the icons on the screen to show you different variants you can use and find. So just try them all out. For example, if I was doing a LoJack and I had to hit pretty much everything apart from LoJack's left hand, then I'll probably do 2 limbs, a head and a torso to get the most out of that. And if there was any little parts left, for example, the limbs are gone and just the head and torso, I'll do 2 heads and 2 torso attacks using those examples. Depending on the situations, depending which parts are available or not available, there's your different types of card variants for you to try out. If you, I would recommend to try out the practice doll if you do wish to try out the damage before trying the actual raid. And this is Tack. This is with, again, this is all body part attacks. So there's loads of different build examples you can use. So again, go into Discord, use that command to have a look at which different deck variants. Tons for you to try out. And this is Juck. So the only difference with this one is that you don't attack its leg. This is, again, can be used in tier 2, tier 3. There is one with and without Victory March. So this one's with Victory March. So you can do different variants. The only difference with this one as well is that you don't attack the legs. So it might be less limb usage. And this is the same variant, but this is with no Victory March. So again, only this one, the difference this one is that you don't attack the right hand as well as the legs. But loads of different variants. Most of the deck build examples will be pretty similar. So example, I normally have 2 limbs, 1 torso, 1 head. Unless most of the limbs are cut, then I might add in another head or torso, depending on the situation. This is Mecha. And again, the only difference is that you don't attack the stomach or torso. And again, that's why the torso is cancelled out, because you definitely don't want to attack that part, because that's a wastage. So there's different dex variants you want to use in that. Mostly limbs. So I have probably 3 limbs, 1 head. Maybe another head one if needed to finish it off. And lastly, this is Terras. Again, no arms. It's just going for the head, the torso, and the left leg. So a bit more variants. You probably need double head deck or double torso deck to get the multiple attacks. But there's loads of dex examples you can swap out if needed. So this is absolutely a fantastic tool. I would recommend to join those discords. I've said Tap Titans Official or myself. I will link him in the description. That's pretty much all you need to know about deck builds. You just try out, because this is based on your card level and your raid level. So I would recommend trying out each one individually to see which one gives you the best damage, and then just stick with it. If you've got any other questions, leave a comment below. If you've liked this video, like and subscribe. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you all soon. Take care.